Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the J-Rock Show. I am your host, as always, Jason J.K. Candell, and I hope you're all having a great week, as always. Unfortunately, I do not have a guest for you all. Had a lot going on in my personal life, so I apologize for not getting anybody to join me this week. Was hoping to be joined by a media colleague, but I'll be in contact with some players for next week's episode. But it was a wild week in SimWorld U. We're seeing a lot of teams rise, see their Hoops stocks rise and fall going into conference championship weekend. We had the official finalization of VIL coming to SimWorld U. And we had, like I mentioned, we had a lot of upsets, a lot of interesting outcomes this week. And we have most of our conference championship matches to happen next weekend. Most of the stages are set. We got Jackson State and Memphis in the American. We got Villanova and Georgetown Part 3 in the Big East. We got UNLV Gonzaga in the Mountain West. And we got Kansas and Texas in the Big 12. So 4 of the 8 conferences are settled. And we still have 4 to go. We still got the ACC, still got the Big Ten, which is looking super murky. We're going to see Maryland and Iowa battle it out tonight to kind of make that a little less murky. Don't know what's really going to change there. You got the SEC, which has a lot of teams fighting for just 2 spots. Alabama, Auburn, Kentucky, Arkansas. Don't think it's going to be Arkansas, but I think we're going to see Alabama and Auburn Part 3 in that conference championship. But I'm not sleeping on Kentucky. There's some momentum on Kentucky's side. But here's what I want to talk about first. We're going to start with our J-Rock Performer of the Week this week. And if we're talking strictly performance-wise, it would be Japhet Towns of Missouri. 45 points against Texas A&M. 22 made shots. I was on the call with JJP for that one, and it did not, even blind people saw that Mr. Japhet Towns is the most impressive player on the floor. He dazzled, he shined, he broke out. It has been a season where expectations have been a little bit unrealistic for him, and it's been a little bit of inconsistency and a little bit of, is he not living up to the hype? Or maybe it's just that guys like Justin Bell, who are on better teams, are getting more love. And I think he kind of did a lot to make him kind of reaffirm himself as that so-called media darling. Because we all know what Japhet Towns can do with the ball in his hands. He just needed some time to get going. And with Missouri season on the line, he delivered. So we're going to go with 2 players. We're going to go with Japhet Towns for the individual performance and Jay Laster for the context of a 28-point game against the number 1 team in the country. It helped sweep the number 1 team in the country. I believe he had 30 last time they played, and he's just been the Wildcat killer this year. He's been killing Villanova, and they're looking to make it 3 in the Big East Championship. Jay Laster is a freshman. Unc Laster, as they call him, has been really, 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 really impressive, and it's kind of went unnoticed because Georgetown is a very talented team. They have Atlee Backman. Ed Cooley is a very good coach. And I don't really know why they're not being talked about more, but Jay Laster is just really good all around on that offensive end. I really like what he could be as a 2-way wing at the next level, but I don't think he's like a lottery pick. I think he's more of a late first-round pick, a guy who can help a contending team off the bench. But that's just my opinion. So congrats to Jay Laster and Japhet Towns, both of whom were JK's Player of the Nights this week. I hope you will notice a theme here, ladies and gentlemen. But that brings me to topic number 2, and that is the VIL debate taking over SimWorld U, we saw the CBS Rewind announce that the implementation of VIL contracts for student athletes and college athletes will be coming to SimWorld U soon. There, apparently, I spoke to Lank a little bit and with Legacy Group, and he was telling me that a lot of those will be activity based, and it'll be based off an engagement quota or some level of activity quota. So only the most dedicated players inside and outside of the gym will be awarded VIL deals. It finally gives these young kids the opportunity to profit off of their name, image, and likeness. Big thing to kind of keep an eye on going forward. We have DJ Childs returning to Alabama for his senior season. We're going to see things like this more frequently, where first round projected guys opt to stay in SimWorld U because they're going to make more money. This was a point I brought up in my article. I think it was on Tuesday. I hope you all checked that out because I thought I gave a lot of information on that, and I even got to speak to some players. Shout out Monty and Cam Jones for talking to me on that. But VIL, we're going to start seeing players are going to make more in college now than potentially on an SWBA minimum deal or a two-way deal, which some of these players more than likely will end up receiving. So it's good for the growth of the game, but some schools don't have the resources to kind of contend. I'm worried about it becoming like a free agency period and a pay to win, and it's going to affect recruiting a lot. We have Assad Drayton coming to SimWorld U to coach next season. We're going to have Drake Pope. We could have Drees Williams, Tomas Kusa, Alyssa Dodge. All these SimWorld prep coaches come to SimWorld U, and not only do they have to focus on their relationships with players and recruiting them from a scheme fit or a talent standpoint, you also have to think about offering them a lucrative VIL package. It adds another wrinkle to something that's already difficult for these coaches. Like Drake Pope and Assad Drayton are very good recruiters, but it is something to be mindful of because this could be a slippery slope if it's not handled right. That's exactly what Monte Parson told me. He said if he will take advantage of it. He said he pretty much told me he's ready to break the bank. So I hope Ohio State, you got this guy coming in. I hope you're ready to pay up because we're going to see a lot of strategic decommitments or flip commitments in the next couple of weeks or months because VIL is going to change things, and it's only going to be the tip of the iceberg and start of what's to come. And that brings me to my next topic, and that's about momentum going into Hoopsteria. Villanova lost this week. Butler's lost their last two. We've seen a lot of movement. We've seen Oklahoma kind of hit their stride recently. We've seen Auburn win, 5 in a row now? 6 straight for Auburn now. Cal is lost 4 of their last 5. There are teams that are starting to struggle right in a very inopportune time of the year, and there are teams that are getting hot just the right time, like Auburn that I mentioned. Jackson State is on a really nice win streak right now. D. Woodley's been playing his best, or he was on a very nice win streak until they lost the other night. They had won 4 of their last 5. I believe they had won 7 straight, but they still have Jamie Doria coming in to replace D. Woodley, but will probably go. But even with the losses for Kansas and Jackson State, the number 5 and the number 22 teams in the nation. Jackson State is ranked too low, by the way. Like, they're fine. They'd been playing great, but they have been facing teams that have been playing out of their minds. 2 straight for Kentucky. 3 straight for Louisville. Marquette's won 4 of the last 5. Memphis is looking good. It's all about momentum. And even Missouri turned a corner with that performance on CBS on Tuesday night. Oklahoma's won 4 straight. They're 13-17 now. They're playing themselves into a Hoopsteria bid, the Sooners. And it's been really impressive for me to see, for me to watch. I've spoken to Suno Chapa plenty. And I'll admit, color me impressed. And then there's even schools like Princeton, who are kind of just started off hot, or Georgia Tech, who are just not really keeping themselves that alive right now. San Diego State's looking great. So it's important I think people forget that. It's important to end the regular season strong, win your conference championship. But it's not everything. There are teams that lose early in their conference tournaments, their conference championships, and make runs in Hoops area. There are teams that are sizzling hot, go into the tournament, go down early. It's not unheard of. And one bad D. Woodley performance in Jackson State can go down. And they're my example for this because they don't shoot the three well, and they run through an undersized guard who's been putting up a lot of shots lately. They're a team I think they're very talented, but they're a team I'm very worried about going into Hoopsteria, even despite what I've seen from them lately. Like, it's all about momentum. It's all about a game of runs and a game of stretches. And the team that's been hot lately, they're more likely to stay hot when the stage is big because they won't have to get into a rhythm. They just have to stay in one. And that's more important, I think, than many people realize. And that's why people are questioning Auburn because of their youth and because of Bruce Pearl. I like Bruce Pearl as a coach, and I really like Barkley James. I love what he's done this year. I like that freshman trio. I get that they're younger and that they don't have the experience, but that's what SimWorld Prep's preparing these guys for. The last dance, the run to one. It's giving guys a chance to shine on the biggest stage, and it's kind of a precursor to Hoopsteria now. And I think people are kind of forgetting that. And for the record, this Butler team, I don't think they're going very far in Hoopsteria. I think that they are like kind of coasted off of a very weak conference schedule. So that's something I'm talking about there. And I spoke to Jordan Belmont on last week's episode where we were talking about coaching. And some of the best, there's so many coaches that you really got to look out for. Like we were talking about the Tom Izzos, the Bruce Pearls, like who I just mentioned. Even Kelvin Sampson, Houston's won 5 straight, and they're playing themselves into a good spot. Tom Izzo, John Calipari. It's those experienced coaches, and I think it's going to be interesting to see how this is going to keep playing out because we're at a point now where it doesn't matter what you did 2 months ago or 3 months ago in non-conference play. Right now, the here and the now is what matters, and I hope people realize that the lights are getting brighter, and not everyone's made to shine. That is my message to you all. I would also like to mention that I also kind of want to talk about some SWBA talk, draft talk, because Kingy Cross and Sherwood battling tomorrow, Jalen Snow, Jamison Johnson. We still have no consensus number 1 pick, and I'm ready for you guys to start talking about Jalen Snow. Jalen Snow is the best player in the nation, and I don't know who needs to hear it. Cooper Kingy Cross and Lamarian Sherwood are not our Naismith Player of the Year. I think it, in all honesty, should probably be Cooper Flagg. I think it's Cooper Flagg or Jamison Johnson or Jalen Snow. If it goes to anyone else, it's a little bit of a travesty. But I'm going to also let you know of 3 teams to not look out for when you are filling out a bracket. Trap teams. I think Jackson State's a trap team because you're going to see that they've been playing well and pick them to go far. I think Lamarian Sherwood because if he gets into foul trouble or he goes down again in Iowa, I don't love Iowa. They are kind of like that one-man show, and if Sherwood goes down or goes into foul trouble or isn't in a rhythm, which doesn't happen very often, I'm not big on him. And another team I don't like is Gonzaga. They've lost 4 of the last 5. And they can't shoot. They don't shoot the 3 well. They can't shoot the 3 well. I really like Luffy and Ship. But they're not a 3-point shooting team. I like Mark Few as a coach, but this team has faced 0 adversity all year. And honestly, for good measure, I'll throw in Georgetown because they're hot right now, and I think people are forgetting that just because they've beaten Villanova, they are not like a legitimate contender. They have no go-to star, and I think they just have a bunch of solid guys. Sometimes that does win you championships or win you games, but they're not Alabama. They don't have Nate Oates, and they don't have the talent that Alabama does. So I don't get why you guys are treating them like Alabama. And honestly, that's going to do it for this episode of the J-Rock Show. I hope you all enjoyed the SWFL draft last night. Hope that you all will enjoy the SWBA draft and my coverage of it over the next couple of weeks, months, days. And since this episode is a little bit shorter due to JK being on a time crunch for personal reasons, I did a Q&A with you all at the start of March. I want to do another Q&A with you all in the comment thread, in the media, in the feed, in the comments, in the threads for this episode. What I want to do is all over social media. I don't care where you're seeing it. Ask me questions, ladies and gentlemen. Last time I said ask me your SimWorld prep, your SimWorld U, your SWBA questions. This time, don't hold back. Ask me anything. You can ask me about my like what music I like, SWFL, other sports, my movies, other interests, or even SimWorld Prep, SimWorld U, SWBA. Let's do another Q&A. We're a week before conference championships, 2 weeks before Hoopsteria, and since my show is a little bit shorter this week and I don't have a guest, I still want to treat y'all to some good content. So flood your comments down below, whether you're a player, coach, fan, media member. Ask me a question and I will answer it as soon as I can. I appreciate you all tuning in. I hope you have a great week. Hope you have a great weekend. And remember, everybody, SimWorld, the only place you can see the game, be the game. Don't forget to join us.